It's a question that's rarely asked out loud and almost never talked about openly. But as you grow older, the quiet routines you once didn't think twice about can start to affect your body in unexpected ways. That includes the most private parts of your life, things like how often you're intimate with yourself. Let's be clear, masturbation is completely normal. It's a natural expression of human need, connection, and comfort. And for most of your life, it probably hasn't posed any problems at all. But after 65, things shift. Your body becomes more sensitive. Your hormones, heart, circulation, and even your sleep patterns change. That means something that once brought release and relaxation might now leave you feeling drained, achy, or even anxious, and you might not understand why. You are not alone in wondering about this. Many older adults quietly ask the same thing, but don't know where to turn for honest, respectful answers. That's why this video exists, to offer clarity, compassion, and real science. By the end of this video, you'll walk away with a clearer understanding of what's normal, what's not, and how to navigate your changing needs with dignity and self-respect. Because aging well isn't about giving things up. It's about making choices that serve you better now. If this conversation speaks to you, please share it with someone who might also benefit. And if you haven't yet, subscribe for more honest, health-focused guidance made just for you. Let's dive in. 1. Hidden stress on your aging heart. At first glance, it may seem unrelated, something emotional or personal, far from the world of blood pressure and cardiology. But the truth is, your heart responds to every physical action, every emotional surge, and yes, even moments of intimacy with yourself. After 65, your heart is no longer the silent workhorse it once was. It deserves care, attention, and above all, respect. Take William, for instance. He's 72, active for his age, and has always prided himself on keeping a steady rhythm in life. But a few months ago, after an ordinary evening alone, he felt an unexpected tightness in his chest, followed by lingering fatigue. It unsettled him. After some hesitation, he brought it up with his doctor, quietly, cautiously. What he learned surprised him. His doctor explained that even private activities like masturbation could place a sudden demand on his heart, especially given his history of high blood pressure. As we age, our blood vessels gradually lose elasticity. That means when your heart rate spikes, whether from exercise, stress, or sexual arousal, it's harder for your circulatory system to adapt. The arteries don't expand as easily. Blood pressure rises more sharply, and for those living with heart disease, hypertension, or irregular heartbeat, this quick strain can increase the risk of complications like dizziness, shortness of breath, or even cardiac events. Now, this doesn't mean you need to stop altogether. It simply means you need to listen, really listen to what your body is trying to tell you. If you feel tired, lightheaded, or anxious afterward, don't ignore it. These aren't signs of weakness. They're messages from a body that's working hard to keep you safe. There's strength in awareness. By tuning in and making gentle adjustments, slowing down, staying hydrated, avoiding moments of activity right after a heavy meal or during emotional stress, you can continue to enjoy life's private moments without placing unnecessary pressure on your heart. You deserve that same balance, because after 65, your heart isn't just beating for survival. It's beating for joy, for connection, for all the quiet things that still bring comfort and meaning. So treat it kindly. Let your choices reflect not just who you were, but who you are now and the future you still want to protect. 2. Nervous system fatigue and brain fog. We often think of intimacy, especially the kind we share with ourselves, as something isolated, simple, maybe even relaxing, but there's a lot more happening beneath the surface than we realize. Each time you engage in self-pleasure, your brain lights up with activity. Your heart isn't the only organ responding. Your nervous system kicks into gear, releasing powerful chemicals like dopamine to create that brief feeling of euphoria, release, and calm. But as we grow older, our ability to recover from those chemical surges slows down. That's not your fault. It's just part of the natural rhythm of aging. The same way your muscles take longer to bounce back from a walk or a chore, your nervous system needs more time and energy to return to balance after stimulation. And when it doesn't get that rest, that's when fatigue starts to creep in. Some older adults report something they can't quite put their finger on: a foggy head, trouble concentrating, a dip in motivation, or even feelings of emptiness a day or two later. That sensation isn't just in your head. It's often tied to dopamine depletion. This feel-good neurotransmitter plays a critical role in your focus, memory, and emotional resilience. And when it's drawn down too often without enough time to replenish, it can leave you feeling mentally worn out. You're not doing anything wrong, but you may be asking more of your nervous system than it's ready to give. This is especially true if you're also managing stress, medications, poor sleep, or nutritional gaps, factors that already place extra pressure on your brain and body. The key isn't to give up what brings you peace or pleasure. It's to approach those moments with a sense of care and conservation. Think of your nervous system like a battery. After 65, it may not hold a charge quite as long, but it still powers everything that makes you you: your memory, your humor, your clarity, your calm. Try spacing things out more, not out of guilt, but out of wisdom. Give yourself days to recharge. Pair those pauses with brain-nourishing habits, like hydration, good fats, sleep, and calming activities. You're not just preserving energy, you're protecting your sharpness, your mood, and your sense of vitality. What might feel like just a little tired today can become persistent brain fog tomorrow if we don't respect these signals. But the good news? Your body and brain respond quickly to kindness. A bit of patience, a little mindfulness, and your clarity can come right back. Your energy matters, your mental clarity matters, and so does your comfort. You deserve all three, not in pieces, but in harmony. 3. Sleep disruption and restless nights. For many people, especially in their younger years, a moment of release at the end of the day felt like a gentle nightcap, something that helped the body settle down, the mind slow, and sleep arrive a little easier. But as you age, your body changes in quiet, unexpected ways. What once felt calming may now be subtly working against your sleep without you even realizing it. You see, behind the scenes, every time you engage in self-pleasure, your brain releases a powerful burst of dopamine. It's a feel-good chemical, one that boosts mood, sharpens focus, and drives motivation. But dopamine and melatonin, the hormone responsible for making you feel sleepy, don't always play nicely together. In fact, a surge of dopamine can delay or even suppress your body's natural release of melatonin. That means when your brain should be winding down, it's actually lighting up. This can lead to that familiar but frustrating experience. You lie in bed, tired but wired, your mind humming while your body begs for rest. You toss, you turn. You wonder why sleep feels harder to come by these days. And the next morning, you wake up groggy, unrested, maybe even irritable. It's a quiet cycle that can go unnoticed for weeks or months, until the exhaustion finally catches up with you. It's not just about falling asleep either. The overstimulation from late-night activity can also interfere with the depth and quality of your rest. Even if you do manage to drift off, you may find yourself waking up more often in the night, struggling to fall back asleep, or rising earlier than you'd like with a sense that your sleep was incomplete. That's because your nervous system never fully powered down. It's still humming in the background. Sleep is when your brain cleans itself, your cells repair, and your body recovers. And after 60, this process becomes even more essential. Your immune system, memory, balance, and emotional well-being all depend on that deep, uninterrupted rest. So when something as small as timing throws your sleep rhythm off course, the ripple effects can be wide and unexpected, affecting everything from your energy to your mood, to your ability to handle stress the next day. But here's the empowering truth. Once you know what's happening, you can begin to work with your body instead of against it. Minor changes in timing can make a world of difference. Choosing earlier parts of the day for stimulating activities and protecting your evenings with calm, melatonin-friendly habits, like reading, dimming the lights, or gentle stretching, can help signal to your body that it's time to wind down. Now is the time to listen more closely to what your body is asking for. It's about choosing when and how to engage, in ways that nurture the restful, healing sleep your body now craves. You're not broken, you're simply shifting, just like the seasons of life. And that shift, when honored, can lead to even deeper comfort, balance, and vitality. 4. Prostate irritation and bladder issues. By now, we've touched on how overstimulation affects the heart, the brain, and sleep. But what about the part of the body most directly involved? For older adults, especially men over 65, the prostate and bladder deserve just as much attention and care. And while self-pleasure can absolutely be a healthy, normal part of life, doing it too frequently or without giving your body time to recover may lead to discomfort you didn't expect. Let's look at what's happening below the surface. The prostate, a small gland just below the bladder, plays a vital role in male reproductive health. But with age, it becomes more vulnerable to inflammation. Frequent stimulation, especially without sufficient rest, can irritate this area. That inflammation doesn't always cause pain, but it can quietly lead to more nighttime bathroom trips, a sense of urgency during the day, or even a weak or hesitant stream. Leonard, 71, didn't think much of his changing bathroom habits at first. He figured waking up 2 or 3 times a night was just a normal part of aging. But when the constant interruptions began wearing him down, he spoke to his doctor and made a small change. By reducing how often he engaged in self-pleasure and spacing it out more thoughtfully, he noticed a surprising shift. Within weeks, his nighttime urination dropped significantly, and he began sleeping through the night more often. It wasn't just the prostate that needed care, it was his entire pelvic system. You see, repeated tension and release in that area can fatigue the pelvic floor muscles over time. These muscles are crucial for bladder control, and when they're overworked, they can mimic symptoms of aging or even worsen them. That's why it's so important to listen to your body, not just push through out of habit. What's most important to remember is this: your comfort matters. Your sense of ease in your own body matters. And sometimes the best way to protect those feelings is not by stopping something altogether, but by softening your approach, by choosing gentleness over repetition, by giving yourself permission to rest. This is not about shame or restriction. It's about awareness, understanding that your body now needs a different kind of care, one that values recovery just as much as activity. When you treat your pelvic region with the same respect you would offer your heart or your knees, you create the conditions for long-term function, better bladder control, and less daily irritation. Aging well means learning the new language your body speaks, and in this case, it might be whispering, "Easy now, go gently." The reward? A more peaceful night, fewer interruptions, and a body that feels supported, not strained. We're not here to take away your autonomy. We're here to help you keep it. And that starts with understanding the quiet ways your body asks for balance. 5. Hormonal swings and mood instability. That quiet shift in mood, the unexplained irritability, or even the sudden cloud of sadness that seems to come out of nowhere. As you move through your 60s, 70s, and beyond, these feelings may not just be in your head. They may be rooted in the hormonal changes stirred up by habits you haven't connected to your emotional well-being. Self-stimulation, while natural and common, activates a powerful mix of hormones that directly influence how you feel, not just in the moment, but long after. Each time your body releases a surge of dopamine, that feel-good chemical linked to reward and pleasure. But when it's repeated often, especially without adequate rest or variety in stimulation, the brain begins to struggle with balance. Too much dopamine too quickly can lead to a crash afterward, where motivation drops and energy dips. You might find yourself less interested in things you used to enjoy, or emotionally flat for no clear reason. Then there's prolactin, the hormone that spikes after orgasm. It's meant to help the body come down and recover, but in older adults, especially men, frequent spikes in prolactin can suppress testosterone. Lower testosterone doesn't just affect physical health. It's strongly tied to mood, confidence, and even mental clarity. Add in oxytocin, the bonding hormone, which can feel wonderful in the moment but leave you feeling oddly lonely or disconnected afterward, if emotional intimacy isn't part of the equation. It's no wonder so many older adults report feeling emotionally out of sync, but don't know why. They may chalk it up to aging or assume it's a passing phase. But your emotional health is deeply connected to your hormonal balance, and that balance becomes more delicate with age. You don't have to give anything up completely to regain your sense of emotional steadiness, but becoming more mindful of how often you're stimulating your system and how your mood responds afterward can be a powerful first step. Consider spacing things out, focusing more on relaxation and connection than urgency or frequency. Notice how you feel, not just during, but in the days that follow. This awareness isn't about guilt, it's about empowerment. When you know how your body works, you can support it more compassionately. You can offer yourself the stability you deserve. And if you've been feeling more emotionally raw, reactive, or low lately, it may not be a mystery after all. It may be your body's quiet request for balance. So if this conversation has helped you connect a few dots, don't keep it to yourself. Share it. And if you'd like more insight into how your body works as you age, without judgment, just honest support, be sure to subscribe. Together we can face these changes not with fear, but with clarity, care, and confidence. 6. Diminished sensitivity over time. As with any system in the body, the nerves responsible for sensation and pleasure can become less responsive over time, not necessarily because they're wearing out, but because they're being overused in the same way. When stimulation becomes repetitive, whether physical or mental, your sensory pathways start to adapt. They dull their response as a protective mechanism. This process, known as desensitization, is especially relevant after 60, when the nervous system becomes more sensitive to disruption and slower to recover. It's similar to how your taste buds can get used to strong flavors, or how loud music loses its edge when it's always playing. The nerves involved in intimate pleasure are no different. If the brain is constantly flooded with the same stimuli, it may start to tune them out. You might notice that it takes longer to feel anything, or that the intensity just isn't there. That can be confusing, even discouraging. However, there's some good news. This change isn't always permanent. The nervous system can often regain sensitivity if it's given the space and time it needs. Stepping back and allowing your body to reset, even briefly, can restore some of what's been lost. Pleasure is not just about frequency, it's about presence, variation, and timing. When you reintroduce novelty and rest, sensation often returns with more richness than before. It's also worth remembering that your experience of pleasure is deeply connected to your mental and emotional state. If you're rushing, anxious, or chasing a result, you may miss the quiet cues your body is trying to send. Reconnecting with those subtleties, especially as you age, can create a more fulfilling experience, one that nourishes rather than drains. The solution isn't to eliminate these moments from your life, but to approach them with a gentler rhythm. Think of it like watering a plant. Too much, too fast, and the roots can drown. But the right amount, spaced thoughtfully, allows it to thrive. Your body works the same way. Giving it time to breathe, physically and neurologically, can actually bring back sensations you thought were gone for good. Connect the rediscovery of pleasure with a deeper, more soulful kind of intimacy, within oneself and with others. Emphasize that aging opens the door to emotional depth and sensory awareness that youth often rushes past. Feeling again becomes about meaning, not just stimulation. 7. Isolation and emotional withdrawal. Now, there's another quieter effect that often goes unnoticed. It's not something you can measure in blood pressure or scan on a chart, but it runs just as deep. It's the slow drift toward emotional isolation. For many older adults, especially those living alone or managing chronic conditions, private routines can become a form of comfort, a predictable rhythm in an unpredictable world. And there's nothing wrong with that in moderation. But when these habits start replacing meaningful connection with others, the emotional cost can begin to outweigh the comfort. You might not even realize it's happening. A day goes by without a phone call, a week passes without seeing a familiar face, and yet there's still that small private release, a quick fix that, while offering brief relief, doesn't truly satisfy the deeper human need for companionship and closeness. In fact, the more you rely on that isolated escape, the less motivated you might feel to reach out, make plans, or engage in conversation. The cycle feeds itself. At the center of this dynamic is a hormone called oxytocin, sometimes referred to as the bonding hormone. Oxytocin is released through touch, eye contact, laughter, and shared experience. It's what makes you feel connected to family, to friends, to the world around you. But when social interaction fades, oxytocin levels drop, and loneliness starts to sink in, even if you're not consciously aware of it. This doesn't mean you've done anything wrong. It simply highlights how our brains and bodies are wired to thrive in connection, especially in our later years. It also reminds us that emotional wellness is not something that can be postponed until later. It's part of daily health, just like eating or sleeping. If you've noticed that it's been a while since you had a heartfelt conversation, laughed with someone, or shared space with a friend, it may be time to shift your focus outward. Social connection doesn't need to be grand or complicated. A coffee with a neighbor, a walk with a friend, a regular call with a sibling. These small gestures release the very chemicals your brain craves to feel whole, seen, and supported. The goal isn't to cut yourself off from quiet moments of solitude or self-care. It's to recognize when those moments are replacing connection rather than complementing it. Healthy habits should support your ability to be in the world, to feel loved, and to give love in return. Because at the end of the day, the most nourishing parts of life often have nothing to do with what we do in private, but everything to do with who we choose to share our time with. And it's never too late to rebuild those bridges. 8. Weakened pelvic floor and bladder control. Focus on how bladder leaks or urgency may be early signs of pelvic muscle fatigue, not just getting older. Talk about how overstimulation, long-term pressure, or inactivity can silently weaken this area. Reassure viewers that regaining control often starts with awareness and a few gentle shifts in daily habits. You may have noticed that trips to the bathroom are becoming more frequent, Or perhaps you've experienced moments of urgency or occasional leakage, brushing them off as just part of aging. But what many don't realize is that some of these changes may not be purely age-related. They might be caused or worsened by habits that put too much repeated pressure on the pelvic muscles without giving them time to rest or strengthen. Every time you sit for long periods without proper support, strain during bowel movements, or engage in activities that overstimulate the nerves in your pelvic area, those deep supportive muscles are put under tension, and over time, this constant demand can fatigue the system. The nerves that help your brain communicate with your bladder begin to fire unevenly. Signals get crossed. Muscles that once held firm begin to weaken. Harold, a 70-year-old retired bus driver, started noticing that he was waking up 2 or 3 times a night to use the bathroom. He thought it was just another sign of getting older. But after speaking with a physical therapist, he learned that his pelvic floor was significantly weakened, not from any disease, but from years of sitting, added pressure, and a daily routine that lacked the right kind of movement. Once Harold started reducing unnecessary strain and added simple pelvic floor exercises to his morning walk, things began to shift. Within a few weeks, the urgency eased, his confidence grew, and most importantly, he felt like he had regained control over his body. What's crucial to understand is this: your pelvic floor is not a fixed system, it's responsive. With care, rest, and targeted strengthening, it can improve. And that improvement doesn't just affect your bladder, it affects your balance, your core strength, and even your sense of security when you're out in public or getting a good night's sleep. This isn't about fear, it's about empowerment. You have the ability, starting today, to support the very muscles that support you. That may mean gently reducing habits that overstimulate the area. It might mean looking into exercises designed specifically for the pelvic floor, many of which are simple, seated, and senior-friendly. The key is consistency and awareness, not intensity. So the next time you notice a change in your bladder habits, take a moment. Your body might be asking not for more strain, but for a little more care, rest, and strength. None of this is about guilt. It's about giving your body the care and compassion it's earned. Our bodies naturally change, and it can be easy to feel frustrated or overwhelmed by the challenges that come with it. But these changes don't have to define our quality of life. Now is the time to reflect. Take a moment to notice how you feel, mentally, emotionally, and physically. Are there areas where you sense discomfort or unease? By paying attention to your body's signals, you can make simple adjustments that could restore balance and improve your well-being. It's not about perfection, but about finding small ways to enhance your health and vitality. Which of the points resonated with you today? What's one thing you'd like to focus on to improve your health and well-being? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with others who could benefit. Let's continue this conversation and support each other in living life with the energy and joy we all deserve.